A while ago, I made a video about the Swedish port workers saying that they will not be offloading Teslas into Sweden unless Tesla sign the collective bargaining agreement. So the collective bargaining agreement is a written agreement on terms of employment between an employer representative organisation or an employer and or a union organisation. This is a really big deal in Sweden because 90% of workers are signed up to one. So this is a really, really big deal. And in Sweden, they actually work. Unions really do work for the better in Sweden. So if you're American watching this, unions in Sweden definitely work differently to unions in the US effectively. So at the Swedish port of Malmö, a cargo ship is towering over hundreds of new cars from brands like Volkswagen, Volvo, Mercedes, and other ones too. However, Tesla vehicles are literally conspicuously absent due to the recent dock workers boycott that I talked about. I think my last video was 12 days ago. I'll put that in the description for you. And yeah, you can go click that at the end. Basically, the people in the shipping yards refuse to offload Tesla vehicles in Sweden. This is now going ahead, and there has been a huge response to that video and loads of comments. So loads of irritated Americans thinking that the Swedish unions work in the same way as the US unions. They just don't. I do urge you to Google that. So, like I said, 90% of employees are signed up to a union of some sort, and this shows to be getting great results for the workers. We'll go over this in a second. If you're new to the channel, thank you for tuning in. My name is Ben Alexander, and I make EV news videos every day. So please stick around until the end, and then let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section. Even just your opinion. If you've got any thoughts or an opinion on this, just put them in there. It's really interesting for everyone to read, not just me. And I see lots of people liking and replying to other comments, but I literally read through every comment, and it's one of my favourite parts of creating videos for YouTube. Göran Larsson, a ship inspector, is actively informing crews of incoming ships about the ongoing Labour protest. I'm not sure what they're actually able to do to deal with this, other than just leave the cars on the ships. Particularly checking for Teslas on board. Larsson emphasises the importance of robust regulation in Sweden and viewing this action as a crucial first step. Tesla, known for resisting any sort of unionisation efforts around the entire globe, is encountering its first organised labour protest in Sweden. This action, driven by the Swedish Metal and Industrial Workers Union, IF Metal, representing around initially 120 Tesla workers. That started with a strike in late October. I can't remember the date. So it's useful to remember that the last big strike in Sweden took years to overcome. And I think that was like 10 years ago or something like that. I've forgotten now. So this is a really big deal in Sweden. The movement has gained momentum big time with Swedish workers across various sectors, including dock workers, electricians, cleaners, uniting in solidarity against Tesla. The protest is a response to Tesla's refusal to sign what is known as a collective bargaining agreement, primarily affecting the company's mechanics, as Tesla doesn't have a manufacturing facility in Sweden. So postal workers have even threatened to halt mail deliveries to Tesla if no agreement is reached by November 20th, today. So I'll keep you informed on this. So the solidarity action reflects the deep-rooted role of trade unions in Sweden's economy, where 90% of workers are unionised and covered by employer contracts. So despite the high-profile nature of the protest here, its impact on Tesla is pretty much going to be quite limited anyway, because Sweden is a relatively small market for the company. However, the significance of the protest lies in its symbolism, especially if Tesla's Swedish workers succeed in securing a collective agreement, potentially influencing Tesla's labour relations in other markets. The strike highlights a broader challenge Tesla faces, not just in Sweden, but also in larger markets like Germany, which is a big country, lots of people, where there's a push for unionisation at its, I think it's Berlin-Brandenburg, at the Gigafactory there. So in the US, the United Auto Workers Union has also set its sights on Tesla. I've got a cat walking around on my desk. It's actually my neighbour's cat, but he's really awesome. And he always comes in. You'll probably have seen him on like most of my videos, and he's always asleep on that chair. And he's currently right there. There we go, he's off. In the US, the United Auto Workers Union has also set its sights on Tesla. The widespread support for the Swedish workers' action from international unions underscores the global resonance of this labour dispute. This is a big deal for a lot of countries. In the recent video, there were lots of American people commenting on how it's perfectly okay for Tesla to ignore the wants of the Swedish people here with regards to this CBA. And if they wish to keep on selling cars in Sweden, then they will literally have to be more respectful. There's no other way to do this. It's common sense at its most basic level. I don't think we should be afraid of calling a spoon here with this. Also, I didn't mention that electricians are now refusing to repair and install Tesla chargers at people's homes. And I think that was as of yesterday. There are some really interesting comments on the last video, such as this one, so let's just go over this. Shouldn't the Tesla workers be the ones to determine whether they're getting a bum deal? From what I've heard, only a few have joined the strike, while most say they are happy with pay and conditions. I really like this person's reply. Whoever you are who wrote this, I like this reply. I support it. And what power has workers against big companies? And what's important to me is not the same for you. If you're American, forget everything you believe about union and working conditions. Sweden is completely different compared to the US. It really properly is. It's much more reasonable and fair in Sweden, and it's deeply rooted there. If Tesla break the working tradition in Sweden, then other companies would follow. That's the biggest problem. Tesla may pay good, but the next company maybe would not. But it's mainly not about money. It's about security and insurance. The union demands an agreement with Tesla. So it's not to say that they're literally paying not very much money to the people that are currently working there now. It's just the refusal to commit to continue doing that. And I think that's a reasonable thing, given that the world is changing in ways that we don't want. So having an assurance there is pretty, a public sort of commitment is a big deal. So, you can read the rest of the comment here, or pause it and have a read. I recently did the poll as well. If you haven't seen that, go to the community section on the channel and just do a little vote on there, because it's really, really interesting to see what people think of this. It's interesting because people seem fairly equally divided so far, which is kind of shocking. It's just kind of danced around over the last few days. 1 or 2% or 3% either side of 50-50. This is the biggest gap I've seen so far, currently 54%, 46%. And that's the question. So please feel free to go and vote on that. I've got 39 votes on there now. And I think if you get to like 50 or 100, I think you could sort of take that as a bit more valid. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. You're most welcome to use this video in the comments section to voice your opinion any way you like. Feel free to just have a little rant in there. I really enjoyed reading the comments on the last video about this, and please enjoy the rest of the day. And yeah, remember to press the like button if you support the Swedish unionizing efforts here, because I really, really do, but I can't like my own videos. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the afternoon.